Okay, we are in ninth grade lit, and we're going to be starting on page 118. I thought I said we were ready. We're ready, folks. Right here. All right, so we're on page 118, number 132, and I think we answered question 47, which said, is Oliver fair in his speech to Roland? Do you remember what the issue was? Yeah.
Wasn't Oliver really mad at Roland for like getting him in this whole mess? And, like,
How did he do that? How did he get him in this mess? Yeah.
By not calling for Charlemagne and everybody was ahead of him.
Yeah, when he had an opportunity to get help, he didn't. And so that's how he got him in the mess. And now the roles are reversed. And Roland wants to be Roland wants to call for help, and Oliver says, no way, it's almost out of spite. We're not going to do that. So that's 47, and so we are on number 132.
Wait, we're on question 47?
Question number 47. All right, so 132, on page 118. When the Archbishop thus hears them, so the Archbishop intervenes here, and they're kind of arguing with each other, and Archbishop comes in and says, well, with his gold spurs he pricks his steed anew, draws near to them, and utters this rebuke. Lord Oliver, and you, Lord Roland too, let's have no quarrel in God's name. Twixt you two, it will not save us to sound the horn, that's true. Okay, he's agreeing with Oliver. It's too late. We're going to die. But then he adds this. He says, nevertheless, 'twere better so to do, that is, blow the horn. Let the king come, his vengeance will be rude. None shall to Spain ride home with merry news. After our French will light them down on foot, seek out our bodies and limbs in sunder hewn. Lay us on biers borne upon the sumpter mules, and weep for us with grief right pitiful. In the church close we shall have burial due, and not be food for dogs and swines and wolves. Quoth Oliver, sir, your words are right and good. So there are two reasons that the Archbishop recommends that they blow the horn to get help. What are they? They're not going to survive. It's too late for them. So what would be the reason? Yeah.
So they can get their bodies and bury them right.
That's right. That's one of the main things. I heard this just yesterday on radio, that one of the things Christians did in North Africa when the gospel got there, there are two things they did that caused non-Christians in North Africa to want to become Christians. And one of the things was they wouldn't abort children. They didn't have that procedure. They would do like the Romans do and just expose the child. And so they just lay the child down somewhere and he would cry himself to death. And Christians went and rescued them. Christians were the ones that were rescued. That made an impression on people in North Africa. And the other thing they would do is they would not properly bury the dead. And Christians took care of that. They came back and gave the dead. And the thinking was even unbelievers are going to be resurrected at the end and are going to have to face God. They deserve a burial. And so I just think that's interesting. Nobody wants, you go all the way back to the Iliad. Remember what Achilles did to Hector's body? Remember that story?
He drug him down in a chariot.
Yeah. What'd you say? Well, I thought maybe you might have, but he drug him around with a chariot, abusing the dead body, and his father came and got the body. That's always, every culture feels like you should honor the dead, so that's what he wants. They're not going to help us, but we can honor that. There's one other reason. What's Charlemagne also going to do when he shows up?
Like fight them.
Yes, he's going to take names. Who did this to you? Let's go get him, which is revenge. So he's going to get revenge.
Well, he's going to fight the Saracens?
He's going to get revenge for killing the rear guard. All right, so we'll go to, let me go to Tim over here. Roland hath said.
Roland hath set elephant to his lips. Firmly he holds it and blows it with a will. Higher the mountains, the blast is long and shrill. 30 great leagues the sound went echoing, and King Carlon heard it and all who rode with him. Lo now our men are fighting, quoth the king. Gwyneth retorts, if any man said this, except yourself, it was a lie, methinks.
All right, already, look at 48. Already you see Ganelon trying to distract Charlemagne. How does he do that here? How is he distracting? Why is he distracting? Yeah.
He's like praising him, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, well, you're the best, so we must believe you.
Yeah, but he also says, if any man said this, in other words, he hears a horn, and he says, they're fighting. And what Ganelon is trying to say is, you'll see that next. No, they're not fighting. You might have heard a horn, but it's not because they're fighting. So he's trying to downplay the horn. By the way, you know how far they are from the horn? They could be a minimum of 75 miles, maybe to 90 miles. So think of it this: if you're in Greensboro and you blow a horn, and somebody in Charlotte hears it, I don't believe it. I don't believe you could do that. But what's the circumstances here that make that somewhat believable? All right.
Is it because of, like, Charlemagne hates Roland so much that he's, like, distracting Charlemagne, to, like, try to get Charlemagne to think that they're not in need of help. And
My question was, how could you hear a horn 90 miles away? Yeah,
Maybe because like mapping's like echoey.
that's right. It is plausible that the echo could travel 90 miles. Probably not, but it's maybe possible. Remember, it's epic literature. It's all exaggerated. All right, so we'll move to this Matthew right here.
All right, wait, which question did we just answer?
Here.
48.
48, all right. The county Roland with pain and anguish winds his old pen, and blows with all his might. Blood from his mouth comes squirting scarlet bright. He's burst the veins of his temples outright. From hand and horn the call goes shrilling high. King Carlin hears it who thought through the passage rise. Duke Naaman hears all the fringe beside. Quoth Charles, I hear the horn of Roland cry. He'd never sounded, but in the thick of fight, there's no battle, Count Ganelon replies. You're growing old, your hair is seared white. When you speak thus, you're taking a child. Full well you know Roland's weaning pride. 'Tis strange that God endures him so long time. Took he not nobles against your orders quite. The Paynims made a sally from inside, and there gave battle to Roland the great knight. So he swilled down the field, a brave device, to keep the bloodstains from coming to your eyes. For one small hair he'll blow from morn till night. Now to the peers he's showing off in style. Who dare attack him? No man beneath the sky. Ride on, why loiter here the while? Our father's land lies distant many a mile.
So look at question, first of all, 49. What happens to Roland? And then it adds, why is this ironic? I didn't see that at first. That's a good, but first of all, what happens to Roland? He blows the horn, what happens to him?
No,
He bursts blood vessels.
In his temples, in his head. So he actually starts bleeding through his ears and his mouth. Why might that be ironic? remember, irony means sort of the opposite of what you would expect, or, we know something that somebody else doesn't know. I don't know if it's necessarily ironic, but I think what the question's getting at is, remember, he didn't want to do it. It's almost like punishment. You know, you waited too long, and so it's sort of like punishment, because he blew it. But notice Ganelon's argument. He says, yeah, you see a horn, hear a horn, but what's his rationale for that? What's his explanation for it?
For what?
For the fact that Roland is blowing a horn. It's not because he's fighting a battle, yeah.
Because he's showing off.
Yes, he's showing off, like, listen to me, look at, we're fighting, or we're winning, or something. He's just showing off. Of course, what's Ganelon trying to do that for? Why is he trying to distract and draw attention away? Yeah.
So, because he knows that Roland's outnumbered anyway, so he's just ensuring that Roland will die.
The last part particularly, yeah, he wants to make sure that Roland dies, and he doesn't want any help to go in that direction. So Ganelon is saying, no, let's keep going to France, nothing to worry about, nothing to hear here. All right, Dave.
135.
Yes, sir.
Count Roland's mouth is running blood. Count Roland's mouth with running blood is red. He's burst asunder the temples of his head. He sounds his horn in anguish and distress. King Carlin hears, and so do all the French. Then said the king, this horn is long of breath. 'Tis blown, quoth Naaman, with all a brave man's strength. Battle there is, and that I know full well. He that would stay you is but a traitor fell. To arms, let sound your battle cry to heaven. Make haste to bring your gallant household help. You hear now Roland makes desperate lament.
So question number 50, who actually figures out that Ganelon is a traitor?
King Carlin?
Naaman.
Naaman figures it out. And notice what he calls him a traitor. And he says, let's go get it. Let's go get it. That is, he says it, and Charlemagne agrees, let's go get Roland. So Ryan, see what happens.
1 through 6.
Yeah.
The Emperor Charles led sounded his horns aloft. The French lay down and armed themselves anon. With helm and hauberk and gilded swords girt on, goodly their shields, their lances stiff and strong. Scarlet and white and blue the gonfalons. Straightway to horse the warriors, lords of God. Swift through the passes they spur and never stop. Each unto other they speak and make response. Might we reach Roland ere he were dead and gone? We'd strike good strokes beside him in the throng. What use is that? They have delayed too long.
Are they gonna make it in time?
No.
No. The text never tries to keep us in doubt about that. It's told us this all along. They won't get there. Of course, everybody who read the book knew that anyway, right? They know the story. They know how it turns out because it's a true story, or at least, you know what I mean by that. Most of the story is not true, but that part is true. There was a battle, and everybody got killed. Yeah.
Which the Naaman gets Charlemagne, so they're on their way to try to get Roland, but they're not gonna make it.
That's right.
Alright.
Zoe.
The first war of the North Italian is the day. Against the sun, release their army. Over the ground, front of the highway. So many killed, 30, the wind falls, dead. Such swords, spears, with gilded hands dead. The emperor lies right back
I look at question 51. What does Charlemagne do once he realized Genlon's treachery? Yeah, hey.
He arrested him and chains him up.
Arrest him, chains him up, and what else?
Oh,
Yeah.
he turns him over to the coach to train.
What else? What happens when he does that? Well, they beat him, they pull his beard out. Essentially, it's torture, which is something we don't approve of in this country. It's in the Constitution. But this is medieval justice here. So we'll go to Natalie.
Huge are the hills and shadowy and high, deep in the vales the living streams run by. The trumpets sound before them and behind, all with one voice to all of them reply. In wrath of heart the Emperor Carlin rides, and all the French in sorrow and in ire. There's none but grieves and weeps out of his eyes. They all pray God to save Friar Roland's life, till they may come to battle by his side. Once they are with him, they'll make a great fight. What use is that? Their prayers are empty sight. Too long they've lingered, they come up on.
We'll see, the narrator reminds us that they're not gonna make it.
Really trying to enforce that.
What's that?
There's no secret to what's gonna happen, it looks like.
Right, yeah, it's not their style. I don't, would be now. You would wanna make that sort of, a surprise. He's gonna make it, not the whole book, you can see, here they come, is he gonna make it? That's just not the style when this was written. Are you next, Hayden, or is it? Okay.
King Charlemagne rides on an angered ground. Over his burning,
Yeah.
blows the white beard of him. All the French barons beside him spur full sweat. Hears none of them but is with ears held. Not to be aiding Roland the paladin. Now that he's fighting the Spanish Saracens. He's hurt so sore, I fear he cannot live. God, and what men does 60 with him still? Better him never, nor yet king.
So how many Frenchmen in the rear guard are left? 60. Remember, they're up against 400,000. There's no way they can win. 2 words I want you to circle, and they may be extra credit, like on the test. One would be burning. We should know what that means. B-Y-R-N-Y. Turn back to page 49 again. There's a picture on page 49.
Where's the word at?
49.
I see the burning.
All right, those are hauberks. A hauberk is a chainmail suit that you wear that goes even over your head, down to your ankles, below your knee. That's chainmail. That's to protect you. A burney is the leather version of that. I imagine chainmail is stronger than leather, so it's cheaper. That is the leather is. So it wouldn't be as effective as the chainmail. But that's what a burney. Just maybe it's an extra credit word or maybe more. But we see it so much. We need to know what it means. Do you know what a paladin is? It says Roland was a paladin. It said Roland the paladin. Now it shouldn't be too hard if you don't know what the word means. You think of what Roland is and what he does. What do you think it is?
Like a noble, or a fighter, but still kind of high up in the
Good.
ranks.
Well, what you just described really was a knight,
Yeah.
which is what a paladin. Very good. So a paladin is a warrior, high-ranking warrior. Anybody ever heard of Furman University
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
in Greenville, South Carolina? Anybody know what their nickname, their logo, their
The furries.
what?
Are they the furries?
The furries?
Yeah. That's what
Maybe
I-
Furies? That would be
Yeah,
good.
that's what.
There would be a reason why. We're talking about paladins here, and all of a sudden I asked you about Furman University. Maybe there's a connection there. They are the paladins.
Really?
So it's a pretty cool name. Probably most people don't know what it means if you go to school there. Some of you may want to go to school there. It's a really good school, close by, private school. They play not Division I football, but they play Division I other sports. They're a good school. Why don't we go to Bronwyn?
Roland surveys the mountains and the fells. Pounding French, he sees their lying dead. Like a good knight, he makes them this lament. Barons, my lords, may God of his legacy bring all your souls to paradise the blessed. Amid bright flowers to make their hallowed beds. I never saw braver or truer men. So long you served me unceasingly and well. So many lands conquered your Carlin's realm. Emperor bred you last. To what land, O dearest land, fair nursery of the French? By what hard hap art thou this day fed? Barons of France, for me you go to death. Naught can I give you of safeguard or defense. Now aid you God, who ne'er failed any yet. Oliver, brother, you shall not lack my help. Though none should slay me, I'll die of grief no less. Sweet sir, companion, let's go and fight afresh.
Just a pep talk by Roland. We won't add to that. He's trying to get them. There are only 60 of them left. They don't have much of a chance. But he says, let's fight to the end. We'll go to this Abby right here.
The county Roland returns into the field, and like a river which sleeps during rolling the fields, followers
Play.
flying through the trees. The 420 besides of greater sea, never on limits was any man so keen. Even nice, the deer before his year half days, so before Roland the moon showed his nose. Doth the archbishop well done, valor like this charms wonderfully, that bears the times and sets a cozy seat. Foreign gives the battleship indeed, else he's not with a single thing. Lest he turn on save me, and for our sins pray daily what he sees. Doth Roland strike, spare murder, he said, at this we come to renew the fight is speed. There in the Christian England, great houses.
One thing you should note here is that I think it may be the first time, there'll be more times, the enemy runs away. So maybe, I think this is the first time they actually run away. Now, what is their plan of battle? They're gonna run away, but what are they gonna do next?
They're gonna bring in the next.
They're gonna bring in the next group. So it's just gonna be never-ending attacks until, well, they only have 60 left. It couldn't take them much longer, but they do run away. And this next line will tell us what they're gonna do with the prisoners. So, you know.
When it is known no prisoners will be made, men fight back fiercely and stubborn as the fray. Therefore the French prepared the lines for rage. Here comes Marcel, e'en as a baron brave, riding a horse and being known is his name. Full upon the Vabon he rides and spurs amain. That held out here in Dijon for dominion, the shield he shatters, the hauberk he breaks, and lays him dead, he need not strike again. And Ivan next, and Ivan too, his mate and Garrett to Lucian he slays. Roland the Count, who's not far away, tries to paint to the pain of God. On your soul, I say, these my companions by treason you have slain. Here we go, hence a bitter price of pay. And you shall learn the name of my good blade. The rice is striken and as a very brave. For the sword arm he shears the hand away. And fair he next waylays Mercurian's son and slices off his pate. The Paynims cry Mahani come to aid. The unjust on Carlon on your gods of faith. Into our land he sent this evil race. Come life, come death will never quit the place. Then on to the other cries fly then fight in haste. And 100,000 have fled the field straightway. They'll not return, call after it, then he may.
I don't know if this is the same one. It's hard to tell, because of the Raposia, but it says it again, that they run away. But before they run away, very interesting thing happens. Roland is swinging away, fighting, and who does he end up fighting with?
King Leslie,
Mar-
son.
and Marsilian's and his sons, right, both of them. He cuts the head off of the son. What does he do to the father?
Cuts off his, one of his hands.
Yeah, which one? It says his sword hand, probably.
Right.
So why is this extremely ironic?
Cause
Oh.
that's what,
Is it-
Marceline wanted to do to him.
That's right. Marsilian wanted to cut off Charlemagne's right arm, which is figuratively is Roland. But Roland cuts off the literal right hand of Marsilian. So his fighting days are over. He's actually mortally wounded. He won't survive. He won't survive this. What are they doing to the prisoners?
They're not taking it.
And I mean, it'd be foolish for 60 men to try to capture prisoners and guard them, so they just kill them. That's usually against the codes of war. They say all is fair in love and war, and I guess that's true on the battlefield. All sorts of awful things happen, but if my side starts to kill the enemy's prisoners, what are they going to do to my prisoners?
Kill him.
So that's the problem with that. So, anyway, that's where we are. So they do run away. Marsilian is wounded mortally. We're gonna skip 143, 144. You can write that, so you won't be looking. What happened here? You can skip both of them. Write the word skip there.
What lesson?
What?
Numbers?
It's number 143 and 144. And if there are any questions that we miss, I'll give you an answer for them, even though we're not reading. Abby, Rose, would you like to read? Yeah, just read 145, it's on page 126.
When England see how few the French are grown, they plume themselves, puffed up with pride and hope. Now to the emperor they say his crimes come home. Marganese comes riding his sword cold. He spurs him hard with willows all the fold, and from behind deals all the better blow. Deep in his back the burnished nail is broke, but the spear's point stands forth on his breastbone. He said to him, "You suffer the sore stroke. Charlemagne sent you to the past for your home. All you wrong he did us, 'tis good he lose his boast. I well requited our loss on your own."
Thank you. So, this is significant. Oliver he's mortally wounded also. I mean, you can't survive a spear that's coming out of your chest. The chainmail of the chest, the breastplate of the chest. So it just didn't penetrate his body, it penetrated his equipment. So, he's not happy about it. He is gonna die from it. Let's go to 146, Freddie.
Oliver feels like he deserves the dead. He grabs his sword, hard and clear the king's edge, smites Marganets on his high golden helm, shearing away the flowers and crystal gems. Down to the deep, clean splits him to the head, shakes loose the blade and flings him down dead. Then say, all follow you, of course, pain and wretch. Charles has had losses, so much I will confess, but never shall you back to the land you left. Dame or damsel, return to your beds yourself, that ever you spoil me to tune of kinpins, or made your prophet of me or other than men. This done, to Roland he cries out for help.
All right, so he kills the guy that wounded him. Naturally, you'd think that you kind of call it quits at that point, but he doesn't. He keeps fighting. So we'll go to Matthew, the other man. Matthew.
Oliver feels he's wounded mortally. His thirst for demons can never glutted be. Amid the press he strikes right valiantly. He breaks asunder the spear shaft and shield, splits chine, saddles, and lops off hands and feet. Whoso had seen him, who painted him piece for piece, throw one and the other their bodies down heaps, might well remember that flower of knightly deeds. And Carlin war cry he fails not to repeat, but still Mount Joy goes shouting loud and clear. He calls to Roland his comrade and his peer. Sir, my companion, draw nigh and stand with me. We must this day be parted to our grief.
Thank you. So Oliver's face when Roland looks on him, is gray and ghastly discolored, wan with wounds. His bright blood sprays his body head to foot down to the ground. It runs from him in pools. God, says the count, I know not what to do. Fair sir, companion, woe worth your mighty mood. Ne'er shall be seen a man equal to you. Alas, fair France, what valiant men and true must thou bewail this day, cast down and doomed. Bitter the loss the emperor has to rue. So much he says, in the saddle he swoons. This is actually Roland who swoons. So what does Roland do?
Passes out.
Yeah, he passes out. Now, it's Oliver's one that's got a lance in his chest, but Roland is the one who faints. Yeah.
That looks on the cover.
Yeah, that,
'Cause it looks like he's just fainted, and then there's a really bloody guy.
yeah, now, on the back it says this is the death of Roland, but that actually looks more like the death of Oliver, because when Roland died, there's nobody there. In the book, Roland is alone. So that looks more like the other one. All right. All right, let me turn the page. This is a weird thing that just happened there. I'll read this one more before we go. So Roland now swoons in saddle laid, and Oliver that unto death is maimed. He's bled so much that his eyes are all glazed, or far or near, he can see nothing straight, nor recognize a single living shape. You notice Oliver is so wounded, he's lost blood, he can't see. So when he comes to where his comrade waits, on the gold helm he smites him amain. Down to the nasal he splits the jeweled plates. Only his head is not touched by the blade. So Oliver hits Roland on the helmet, cleaves the helmet down to the nose part, but doesn't touch his head. You know, the helmet kind of breaks. Then Roland's stricken. Roland's looking at him like, he's stricken, lifts his eyes to his face, asking him low and mildly, as he may, Sir, my companion, did you mean it that way? Look, I'm Roland, that loved you all my day. Roland said, why'd you do that? You never sent me challenge or battle gauge. Quote Oliver, I cannot see you plain. I know your voice. May God see you and save. And I've struck you. Pardon me, I pray. I am so sorry that I hit you on the head with my sword. Roland replies, I have taken no scathe. I pardon you, myself, and in God's name. Then each to other bows courteous in his place, with such great love, thus parting is made. We just answered number 53, 52.
I think 52 is the only one here.
Yeah, so what is the effect? How about 54? Why is this there? Why do you think it's there?
Because that thing where they like have to be redeemed before they're about to die, so they can go to heaven and stuff, like be forgiven.
All right, so he does forgive him before he goes. Why do you think he hits him in the first place? Why does he create a scenario where Oliver doesn't know what he's doing, he hits Roland? Kind of a bizarre thing.
To show that Roland's like gone, he's already like dead pretty much.
We're talking about Oliver, yes.
Yes.
Yes, that's good. He's so far gone that he doesn't know what he's doing. He would never strike his best friend. So, guys, we do have a quiz tomorrow, so be prepared for it. Thank you. Good job reading. Abby, you just need to follow everybody. Y'all go to your next class and then outside? Yeah, you go to your class first? All right, Abby, we have a 20-minute break, but if you want to, anybody go in next, where are you going next door?
Dr. Talbert's.
Everybody show Abby where to go, and then we have a break. We'll talk to you later.